Simchat Torah, because we're celebrating the completion of another cycle of Torah. And I don't know about you, but in all the days that I have celebrated Simchat Torah, nobody, and I mean nobody, has ever taught on Vizot HaBracha, which is Parsha number 54. And that is the Parsha that we're supposed to read on Simchat Torah. So, this is going to be my first drash ever. And I've been doing this for almost 20 years now. And this is the first time that I've actually been able to teach on this. So, for everybody who's online, this of course is not the only place to find Torah, but there's Torah beyond your wildest dreams out there. So definitely enjoy. But anyway, and this is the blessing that Moshe, the man of God, bestowed upon the children of Israel before his death. Now, the man of God, that's the first time that term has been used in Torah. Also the last time it's been used in Torah. So I thought I would go and see who else was given that title. The angel of the Lord, who appeared to Shimshon's mother, she called him a man of God. So she must have thought that he was perhaps a prophet or something. Another one is there's a man who chastised the high priest Eli in 1 Samuel. Now, he's not given a name unless you go to Sefer Devarim, and he's called husband of Elkanah. No, sorry, Samuel's father, Elkanah. Samuel is called a man of God 3 times. David HaMelech is called it as in both Nehemiah and 2 Chronicles. Shemaiah from 1 Kings. And then there was a man from Judah who cried out to the king Jeroboam to not go to war. And some people call him Edo. And that comes from Devarim as well. Elijah, Elisha, Micah, or Micha, although all of them were called man of God. And a gentleman named Timothy. The only one in the New Testament called a man of God. Okay, so we've all heard that the Torah was first brought to the other nations before it was given to us and we accepted it. You've all heard that, right? Yeah. Well, this Torah portion is where that idea comes from. And that comes from verse 2, where it says, he said, Hashem came from Sinai, having shone forth from them from Seir, having appeared from Mount Paran, and then approached with some of his holy myriads. From his right hand, he presented the fiery Torah to them. So the idea here is that the place names that are given are actually in reversed chronological order. Sinai, Seir, and Paran. And I'm sure that Sinai means something kind of special to you. All right? Okay, that's where the Torah was given. Now, what about Seir? Does that resonate? Was that Esau? Exactly, Esau. And now what about Paran? Ishmael. So these, Sinai, of course, is where the Torah was revealed. Seir is a location made famous through the descendants of Yaakov's brother. Mount Seir, I got this from, I think it's the Jewish Encyclopedia. I want to give credit where I can, where I remember at least. Mount Seir was named for Seir the Horite, whose offspring, the Hori, had previously inhabited the area. And we get that from Genesis 14. Now the children of Esau, the Edomites, battled against them and wiped them out, and then took it over. And then from there, Esau made that his home. Now Paran is a location representing Ishmael, the brother of Yitzhak. And that is where Abraham sends Hagar and Ishmael into the desert. The Talmud relates how the nations will attempt to defend themselves against God's charge that they did not involve themselves in Torah. The Talmud in Avodah Zarah, Daf 3, lists how they proffer 3 reasons. But instead of giving those reasons, I would like to read a bit from Targum Yerushalmi, or Targum Yud, or Pseudo Jonathan. Now, for those who don't know, Targums are Aramaic transliterations of the Hebrew Bible. They tend to add a lot of midrash to them, a lot of Haggadah. So I'm going to go to chapter 33, and just what I'm going to read to you is actually one verse. So kick back. Okay, and he said, the Lord was revealed from Sinai to give the law to his people, the house of Israel. The splendor of the glory of his Shekinah shone from Gablah to give it to the sons of Esav, but they did not accept it. He shone in the splendor of glory from the mountain of Paran to give it, the law at least, to the sons of Ishmael, but they did not accept it. He again revealed in holiness to his people, the house of Israel, and with them were many myriads of holy angels. The writing of his right hand and the law from the midst of a flaming fire, he gave them the commandments. But what it says there is that other nations had the opportunity and they did not take that opportunity, but we did. Now, the Kabbalists explain each of our patriarchs personified one of 3 basic emotions. Abraham personified the emotion of kindness, Isaac personified awe, and Jacob personified compassion. Being that they are our ancestors, each of us contains a part of them in our spiritual makeup. That's why the community performs together. We create tzedakah drives to give us the opportunity to help each other. We say our tefillah at roughly the same time. We confess our averis together, including some dastard crimes that none of us would even possibly think about doing. But we ask for forgiveness for those because somebody within our midst may have committed that. We read the same Torah portions with few exceptions. There are exceptions. So we together can usher in the end of days, the days of Mashiach. Now, sometimes the Torah tells us that a word is spelled one way, but we're supposed to pronounce it another way. And that's called the Keri Ukesiv. And verse 2 has one of those. Here. Okay, and it says, and he, Hashem, came from Sinai, having shown forth to them from Seir, having appeared from Mount Paran, and then approached with some of the holy myriads. From his right hand he presented the fiery Torah to them. Now, the Keri happens to be on that term, which is Ishadas, which means actually waterfalls. But we're told that we're supposed to pronounce it Eish Das, a fiery law. So the Torah states that when God presented the Torah to Israel, all of Mount Sinai was smoking because Hashem had descended upon it in fire. That's from 19:18 of Exodus. Additionally, King David writes of that event from a little bit different perspective. He says, the earth trembled, even the heavens dripped. This is Sinai, a generous rain did you pour down, O God. Thus, the Torah was given to us through fire and rain, which also probably explains why we also start praying for rain on this day. So, to allude to both aspects, Moshe Rabbeinu uses a term which connotes both fire, a fire of law, and rain, descending waters. And that comes from Perush HaRokech. So which is correct? Is it fire that represents Midas Hadin? Or should it be water which represents Midas HaRakamim? Well, if you look at it in context, the verse ends, from his right hand he represented the fiery or the waterfall of Torah to them. The right hand, Midas Hadin. So that's why we're told to pronounce it a different way. So, the last 8 verses of the Torah, who wrote them? Because we all know what it details, right? Yeah, the death of Moshe Rabbeinu.
Joshua.
Yeah, this sometimes I wish that Moshe Rabbeinu would have been able to make it over the over the river. Moshe ascended from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, to the summit of the cliff that faces Jericho. And Hashem showed him the entire land, the Gilead as far as Dan, all of Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, the entire land of Yehuda as far as the western sea, the Negev and the plain, the valley of Jericho, city of date palms as far as Zoar. And Hashem said to him, this is the land which I swore to Abraham, Yitzhak, and to Yaakov, saying, I will give it to your offspring. I have let you see it with your own eyes, but you shall not cross over there. So Moshe, the servant of God, died there in the land of Moab by the mouth of Hashem. He buried him in the depression in the land of Moab opposite Beth Peor, and no one knows his burial place to this day. Moshe was 120 years old when he died. His eyes had not dimmed, his vigor had not diminished. The children of Israel bewailed Moshe in the plains of Moab for 30 days, and the days of tearful mourning for Moshe ended. Yehoshua ben Nun was filled with the spirit of wisdom because Moshe had laid his hands upon him, so the children of Israel obeyed him and did as Hashem had commanded Moshe. Never again has there arisen in Israel a prophet like Moshe, whom Hashem had known face to face, as evidenced by all the signs and wonders that Hashem sent him to perform in the land of Mitzrayim against Paro, all his courtiers, all his land, and by all the strong hand and awesome power that Moshe performed before the eyes of all Israel. So who wrote that? But I think the problem even predates that, and that's because, there is a portion earlier where Moshe finishes writing the Torah in its entirety and gives it to the Levium, and he says, put this next to the ark where it will testify against you. So he wrote it then. So who wrote the Torah from that point to the end where we say, Chazak, Chazak, v'nitzchazek? Who wrote all that? And I think the answer is easy. I think the answer is Moshe Rabbeinu. So two different things here are going on. Now, I have proven, maybe not in this congregation, in congregations in the past, I've proven that the Torah is not written in chronological order. It doesn't need to be. It's written in a thematic presentation. And as we go through the Torah in this next year, I will show you how and why the Torah is not written in chronological order, because I think you really need to know that. So again, one of two things. Either Moshe wrote this whole thing all the way to the end, to where nobody knows where he's buried, and wrote that in, knew it because he was writing what God told him to write. Or what he wrote back then and gave to the Levium actually is more toward the end of his life and not, however many days earlier that would have been. But either way, it really doesn't matter. Messiah, Israel calls it the Torah of Moshe. So Moshe wrote it all. But as we end, we all say Chazak, Chazak, v'nitzchazek, which means be strong, and may you be strengthened.